the Tiny Artist TV Color Palette Challenge live streams. This is part 2 of today's streams, and I didn't have chat turned on in the morning because it's the morning, but I do have chat turned on for this afternoon, so if anyone pops in and wants to say hey, that is there for you. If you missed the first part of the stream, that, along with all the other ones that I've done for this month, are of course up in the live tab on my channel, Tiny Artist TV, where you're probably watching this right now. And I've got my first character pulled up on screen here, so this is the result of the first part of the stream, and as you can see here, I already have my sketch drawn out for the second part of today's stream. Now, normally, I would have 15 minutes to do the sketch, 15 minutes to do the line art, but because it did take me, I knew it was going to take me longer than 15 minutes to sketch out both of these. I did that ahead of time, and the line art, today I'm giving myself 30 minutes to do the line art since I don't have to do the sketch, and the rest of the time will be devoted to coloring this particular character. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this character's color palette is Briar Rose, and this is character number 59, I believe. So the other one was 58, so this is 59. I'm going to go ahead and lower the opacity on my sketch. And I'm going to begin the line art on, I've decided to call her the Imperial Summoner. As you can see, she's sort of a military magic caster type character. Yes, and the color palette is Briar Rose, this very muted garden type color palette. With the first character, I had a lot of trouble laying out where to put the colors in general, more so with the pants than anything, trying to figure out what color to make the pants because it took up about 50% of the character space, and I literally went through all of the colors of my color palette and finally decided that red was the way to go. Now, even though, let's see, I am going to be using the Cyno pen for most of this, but I do want to use a textured pen for her hair because she is going to have locks, and the locks need some texture. I don't know if you can, how well you can see it, but I do have dreadlock brushes. I don't want to use those. I just want to do the outline and then do the texture of the locks with brushwork. There are going to be a couple that are like, is that too much texture? Let me try this pen instead. There are going to be a couple that are like sort of standouts just to break up the overall shape of the hair, because as you can see here, it's just this large triangular shape with the implication that some of the locks are different sizes, not unlike my own, but I wanted to, again, pick a few to break that shape up. So here, and then this is going to be hair decoration, so that's not, and I'm going to clean up this bow. It's very messy. Maybe I do want a little more texture. What is... This is almost like a soft pencil. I'm gonna go back to the crunchy pen. And I might even... We'll see what happens when I get finished with the bases. I might even do the outline of the hair as an overlay, because I'm planning on making her hair that purple color, this color here. So I'm gonna need a little bit of help breaking up such a large shape of color. The other guy had beads in his hair. These characters are not quite a pair. But stylistically, I wanted to make them very similar. So, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give her some jewelry in her hair. They're going to be wooden beads instead of golden beads because of the colors that I have. Or I could make them silver. And purple and silver would look pretty. Or maybe they could be copper. But again, just kind of having a little something in here to break things up. Alright, I'm going to go back to my Sino pen. Stop messing with the hair, because I have plenty of other details that need to get finished before I can even think about color choices. I still have not changed my pen nib, so if you hear it scratching, I'm so sorry. I've been spending most of my free time editing the playback videos. So yeah, small things like that. That'll be something that I can take care of over the weekend. So on Sunday I'm not streaming, so that can be one of my little side quests if you have it, or if that's what you would want to call it. This is most likely going to end up being a detail overlay, a auto outline layer, just because it's so thin and I want the color to show through. It's from a distance. It's going to be black and silver if I leave the line art as it is. So I'm going to leave this in as a placeholder. But I am going to need to go back over it on a secondary layer and just sort of really refine that shape. Yeah, because this is at 150%. I can't really... Like, if I zoom in anymore, it's going to be super pixelated. So I'm just going to draw over that with the intended color. Stay a little loose with the line art. And normally the ears would be depicted kind of right up here, but because her head is tilted up, so you can see that the line is still going down this way because her head is tilted up this way, so the ears are starting a little further back. And very Howl Pendragon earrings. Just a little teardrop gem. And extend the eyebrow just a little bit. So just a little cross-eyed. That's better. Maybe not. I don't want the pupils to be so far away that she looks wall-eyed either. But I don't want her to look cross-eyed. I just want her to look like she's looking down at the audience or at the viewer. Do a thick outline here just to show how thick that collar is supposed to be. And this is going to be piping, not stitching, but like a trim on the collar itself. Alright, now the fun part, figuring out the folds for the jacket, because it's being forced up and over her shoulder. So you've got the big part of the jacket here, like the main front part of the coat, and the shoulder pad. I'm not quite sure what this part is called, but like this little decoration on the side that has the little like golden buffer. Well, this will end up being silver. Oh, you know what? No, I am going to make it copper because her coat is going to be green. So I will need to treat this in a more metallic fashion. Her staff is going to be the silvers, but I want any accents on the coat to be orange or copper. So the accents in her hair are going to be copper, and this is also going to be copper. That works. I knew it wasn't going to be silver because the tone of the green and the gray, like if I put everything in grayscale, they're so close together that it's going to clash. So I needed something that had enough contrast, and the purple has too much contrast, which is why I'm using it for the hair and not for the coat. Because it's fine if those things don't quite match up. But I want harmony within the clothing item itself. So that definitely needs to be, again, either the orange or the silver. But because the silver is, again, so close in tone to that green, the orange is going to be my best option. This is not as clean as I would like it to be. This might be the better option if I just do this, make it more solid. Instead of separating the tassels, and then I can have just a few kind of going off to the side. Maybe have one or two accentuated, like they're kind of out of place. Just to break up the shape. That's good. I'm just going to follow the sketch Have the sleeve going back this way. There's a little bit of tension here from the clasp in the collar because it's pulling back this way. Something else that's going to end up being an overlay. Got the necklace to match the earrings. Just a little more sorcerer fashion. This is an armband. The other character had gloves, like forearm coverings. Stylistically, I thought that was a little too much, but I like the way something on the arm looks, just to break up any sort of larger areas of color. So I still gave her an armband, and it's kind of a nice asymmetrical choice to accompany this hand, which has her focus, just sort of this large, simple, chunky bangle. Get the lines on the gloves going. This is going to be covered by the staff, and this is going to end up behind the coat. So she's holding it, and it is going, everything is going behind her. There's nothing ornamentally interesting enough on the staff for me to change the way this looks. So most of the staff is behind her, and only the elements that are interesting are in the front. Oh, don't freeze now. You've got the hand figured out. Just draw it. A little bit of separation there. Now I'll just trust the coloring to take care of that. This is the back of the hand. So what is, oh, that's the edge of the sigil. I'm gonna have to make sure that doesn't touch, because it's not super clear in the sketch. So when I say no tangents, that's what I mean. It's like lines that are just touching each other, and that sometimes makes the design unpleasant to look at. You usually want things to overlap or have space, like very deliberate space. Because a tangent is usually just kind of like, why is that there? It's something about it is just unnerving. I'll do that on the top layer. I still have it in the sketch, so if I need to remind myself that it's there, I'll just turn the sketch layer back on and then draw that on a separate layer, because I have shading notes within the sketch as well, and I don't want to lose those. So now we have the fold of the sleeve. Just a little bit of gravity, altering the weight. And I'll probably put a little more detail in those buttons, even if it's just implied detail, by doing some sort of two-tone scribbling. I think for this character I'm going to do similar lighting to what I did with Cupid's arrow, and have a backlight source, like a spotlight of some sort, and then of course light coming from the sigil that's above her focus, and maybe a little bit of glow coming from the staff. This is detail. Light touch, light hands, drawing with the whole shoulder so that I'm not dragging the pen. There is a little bit of gravity here, but it's not enough to do folds that dramatic. This is the bottom of her shirt. Give it a little peplum design, or peplum cut, I should say. Let's see if the coat is green. I guess I'll make her shirt orange, just to kind of push the unity between these colors that I'm trying to push, because this is a very funky color palette. Let me fix that. When I was transferring this to another layer, I cut a little snippet of it out, and that little snippet is just bothering me, the fact that it's gone. But I don't know if you can really tell from a distance. That's just me being picky. Let's see. At 26 minutes. I guess I'm making good time with the line art. So that would give me, if I take out the 1 minute for the intro and explanation, got 5 minutes left. So I think, given what I have here, I think I should be able to get the line art done. Just gonna pick up the pace just a little bit. So what I don't want this to look like it's leading into this. This is going to be a different color anyway. I'm going to make her leggings just a darker version of that green. I'm making an executive decision to just add some help to this color palette, because it's a weird one. It's very gray too. Like, not just because there's two literal grays in the palette, but the tones of the colors that I do have are just very like mid-tone. Like, see, this is like right in the middle. It's pushing, getting more saturated, but it's still in this pale area, and the same for the green. This is like a mint or a pistachio. It is super gray. This is the only like saturated color I have. This is right in the middle of like truly saturated hue, and then of course everything else is gray. So yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit of help breaking up the tonal reading of these colors. Let's see, this is gonna be, there's gonna be a purple crystal in here. This is glass, just to break up the metal bit. This is, I guess you could call this the battery chamber of the wand. So we've got a couple of amethyst in there, or maybe it's alexandrite. Amethyst is more of a smoky lavender. This is definitely more of a tourmaline or alexandrite shade of purple. I'm gonna have to auto outline that. Or what I'll do is I'll paint it and then do a lines and colors treatment to it. If you're not familiar with Clip, let me explain what that is. So Clip has a feature where you can convert colored, like just pure blocks of color, to have an outline without it being the auto outline layer action. So when it comes time for that, well, I might as well, let me go ahead and do that now while I'm working on the line art. So let's say, for instance, what I'm doing, I need this brush. This is a good size. I'm going to set my circle. Need to make that a little bit smaller. That will work. That's good. And then I can just, needs to be a little bit bigger. Erase that out and then draw over, so I have this sort of design. And then what I can do, or what I will do, is convert this to detect where the edge of the pixels are by doing a colors and lines treatment. So that is under filter, effect, artistic. And so let me pull this over here because I don't know if you can see when it's on this screen. So this window right now, it says lines only. If I convert this to, and you can see that it's turned it into lines. If I change this to colors and lines, and I also need to do something with that aliasing. It's too, ooh, let's see. And I don't want color blur. I don't need color blending. It's just a solid color. But you can see it turns it into an outline for me. Kind of the same thing as if I did, let me undo that. If I did this as an auto outline treatment and just bump that down to 1 and then changed it to the color of line art that I'm working in. But it doesn't have the lines just look too different. So depending on what you're trying to do, one may be better than the other. It is still just a little crunchy. And at the very least, if I did it as this instead, when I add something new, it automatically puts the line around it as well. So anytime I want to add like something else to the staff, it will create an outline. But depending on what pen you're using, like, let me make this bigger so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can still see the brush strokes in the middle. I don't want that. I just want a completely solid, smooth piece of metal that I can work with. And so doing it this way, it's less sensitive to the different, like the variations in the brush strokes, depending on what kind of pen. With this particular pen I'm using, it's a little bit better about handling any sort of variation in stroke. I'm just cleaning that up a little bit. This will be its own situation, but I wanted to get that out of the way while I was working on the lines and thinking about it. Now that I see how much space I have in the middle, I can do another crystal in the middle. Just sort of hovering there. If I want this to be an uncut gem, or if I want it to be a little more refined. I like the planes of uncut gems better, but I can play with that later. Let me go ahead and figure out everything else that I already have going on here. It's just sort of little magic danglies. Alright, let's go ahead and do the back of the staff. After I catch this part of the coat. This is going to be this type of situation. It's just going to have to be that. Clean this up. I can get rid of the rest of this. And make this a little more like this one. Very cute. Alright, let's keep it moving. I said I was going to work on the back end of the staff. We'll finally get there. Oh, my pen is set to the right thing. That's better. And that is steel. So that's going to just have a sharp silver contrast. Just smooth that out a little bit. Maybe on the back it does a sort of zigzag thing, but I didn't draw that, so it's not important. Some little spell casting pouches, or some component pouches. Last but not least, the legs and the shoes. Let's get these. Tights or leggings or skinny pants, whatever. Yeah, they do appear to be more like tights or leggings of some sort. I mean, I don't know that it ultimately matters to the overall design, what choice I make about that. It might affect how I choose to handle the coloring, but they are more of a, I imagine them to be of a stretchier material. I'm 43 minutes in? No. I am spending way too much time on the liner. It's going to give me an hour to color. Fortunately, I am once again just doing solid color with cell shading, and the last one, granted, the liner only took me about 30-35 minutes, and so I had the rest of the time to do the coloring. I was able to actually finish it pretty expeditiously. But this one, I don't know, maybe just because she has a little more going on with her outfit. Okay, so this is back of the arm, which you're not going to see. On this layer, I need to do the chain as well with the white, the whiter gray. I mean, I guess some of it is technically colored already. I need this to have more texture. To look more linked. It's probably a little chunky. Yeah, I want to make that finer. Which means I need a smaller pen. I'm not doing it with the right pen anyway. That's better. Moving on. I think I want to change this back. That's weird. Do you guys see this? There's like, when I change it to colors, part of it is blue and part of it is gray. I'm gonna leave that alone and just merge this with the color layer. Okay, so I have this set to reference. I'm gonna go ahead and start on my base colors. I do still need to do the sigil, but I will save that for last because that's going to be a different type of layer treatment altogether. Also, hi, person who just popped into the stream. Welcome to the stream. Let's see. Let me go ahead and get my brushes set up. And zoom out just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and move this a little bit closer to where she is, or where most of the character is. Let's see, did I miss anything? I don't see anything missing. Okay. Aside from a little bit of detail in the staff that I'll take care of later, and then the sigil on her wrist, which I will also take care of later. I'm at 48 minutes. How? Okay, so this is going to be the hair. Yeah, I love this sort of like passion fruit color. Let's make this orange. This can be green, or no, I like it better like this. I'm going to leave it alone. The jacket is going to be green, and the accents are going to be orange. Yes, this is a very refreshing minty green. Which is not bad. I think if it was more of a gray green, it definitely wouldn't work with this orange, but the this was a palette made not with Coolers, but with, I think it's just called the Palette app. And the color palettes generated by that are usually pretty good. As a matter of fact, most of the color palettes I have saved are from the palette app and not from Coolers. So I usually save Coolers for if I'm doing like a Saturday morning shuffle, which once I'm finished with the color palette challenge, I will definitely get back into Saturday morning shuffles. But the palette app you can change the settings as far as what type of palette you want it to generate. And that's true for most palette generation apps. But sometimes when you're just starting out, I believe it's preset to triadic. And I'm pretty sure that's what this is, just because of what's the tones of colors that are showing up. And those can create some funky combinations sometimes. Like, this does not look good together, but if you get it side by side, like in more so of a gradient, this is very scattered. And that actually, there was one that I had to cut up and put back together because the order of the colors was just like so out of place. So if I was going to rearrange this, I would do this, and this actually might help me ideate things a little bit better too. Green, orange, and then purple at the bottom, so it would go from lightest to darkest. And now it makes a little more sense. It's like it's a pastel Halloween palette, honestly. But this, just rearranging it, gives me a better sense of what's gonna stand out best next to what. So because these two are so close together, like because one is obviously green and one is obviously orange, they would still work. But this is gonna provide the highest contrast, and these are kind of in the middle. And I don't need this. There's your art lesson for the day. Oh no, this should be this color, and then the piping is going to be orange like the inside. And then all of the buttons are going to be, I'm going to treat the orange as copper, as I mentioned earlier. So this is going to have high contrast, but this is pretty much going to stay solid orange. Now I wanted to make the earrings purple, but because they're right against the hair, that might not work. I might have to make this copper. These are also going to be copper treatments. And then end up making this steel. Or maybe like a pearl, because I can use these two to make it look like a pearl earring. So I'll clean that up, but I want to get the rest of my bases set up first. The stabby steel. And then this is going to be purple. All of the crystals in her staff. So this little dangly bit here, and I will clean that up as I go. Just trying to get the colors set up at the moment. This needs some more orange to break it up. And I'm gonna do orange here. And then copper buttons. I'll make sure that there's enough contrast so that you can tell that those are buttons and not, whatever's happening here, because it's orange on orange. I'll make the sash purple, and then the piping around her shirt purple. And then I decided that I was going to make the leggings a darker green. Hmm. Yeah, I'm still gonna do that. Just more of a foresty green than a mint green. Her shoes. I will make her shoes purple as well and give them copper embellishments. Take the sketch layer off. And the bottom of the shoe can just be gray. That's fine. And I can do some lighter detailing in that. Or should I make it? I like it better as gray. Just to break up the color. So the only places where her skin is showing is because she's wearing a glove on this hand. So she should also be wearing a glove on this hand. What's going on here? This should just be wrist. Why is this coat? Gonna get rid of that and clean that up. There's staff. This is going to be silver. Oh no, all of her metals are copper. And all of the gems are purple. This character has a little more hard set design rule than the other one did. But it's also making it easier to make decisions because she has a lot of places for the color to land. And if I had spent as much time figuring out the colors on this character as I spent on the other character, we would probably be here for 2.5 hours instead of my 2-hour goal. Now the details on the pants, I do want to make those silver and have a little bit of white light to kind of make it look shimmery. And that'll also help break up this line. And then after I'm done here, I have a whole stockpile of editing that I need to do today. Okay. This can also be orange, and I'll treat that like canvas. I'll make these buttons silver though. Oh, the lining. This needs to be purple. And then all of these. This will be silver. So they almost match the earrings. It's the same, it's the same shape. Actually, let me. Oh, my throat was starting to get dry. Same shape. Maybe just mix and match from a different set. I am at an hour, so I have an hour to do the rest of any little details that I want to do. Most of the base is done, but it's a little messy. I will clean it up as I go. I guess this is going to be copper, since everything is copper. Her headband, however, I was intending on making that silver. And then of course I'll have to do a treatment on it to make it look shiny. But I don't know, because all the other metals she's wearing are copper. I think that'll be fine. Oh, hello. Good afternoon. I'll leave it silver for now. Let's figure out the skin tone. What other little details did I miss? There's a little bit of piping in here. Oh, goodness. The gloves are also going to end up being orange to match her shirt. And I can treat those in a more canvas or leather type material as well. And then I need to put a line here to show where the glove ends. And clean that up again. Okay, and again I'll sort of clean this up a little bit better as I go. Still have just a couple of little places that need some attention. Work with me here. I'll make this steel. So this is going to be this color. And then I can do some sort of magical etching in there if I have time. So I'm sitting at 1 hour and 4 minutes. So that's half my time. And definitely I want to make her eyes purple because I think that's pretty. I might do like a little orange highlight in there, a little bit of orange magic. Just sort of cleaning up. Clean this up. This is the closest thing I have to a skin tone, so I'm going to pick something from this range. Yeah, just like a soft cinnamony type of color. Yeah, that's pretty. I think, should I give her lipstick or should I just do natural color on the lips? Let's see what that looks like. So it might be like too matchy, like too much purple. It's not bad. I think I should go with more of a red berry color though. So let's erase that. Oh, and then of course I'll need to actually color in the eyes too. So right now there's no color behind them, so I'll need to get to that when I get to that. Still wanted to do a backlighting. So this is going to have rim light here and here. This is going to be just bright. This is going to be mostly in shadow, so I need to pick a dark color for that. And fill that in. And give a little bit of texture. Ooh, sorry if that squeaky. This one I might end up doing the lighting on the multiply layer because I'm planning on putting most of this in shadow. I feel like there's just still so much cleaning that I need to do with this character before I start doing... What am I missing? Why does it feel like I'm missing something? Not the sigil. I know I need to do the sigil. Oh, the lips! I was gonna do the lips. Let me fill that in. My brains are full of squirrels today. Just clean as we go. Okay, stop getting distracted. Focus on... It's a little more saturation. And then a little bit of blending on the edges. Yeah, that's much better. It looks better with her skin tone, and because it still has a little bit of purpliness to it, it matches... Well, it's like right between the purple and the orange. It's almost as if I blended the two together. So that works out just fine. And I'll do just a little bit of highlight. No, that looks bad. That looks really bad. Oh. That's better. Okay. Let's fix the eyes. Actually get some color in there. I'm just going to color over the whole thing and then add the pupils back in. So that way I don't have to worry about any gapping in the colors when I'm selecting things to shade them. This is going to be maybe just a little bit, like half of this. Did this get colored in? I didn't think so. Alright, let me look at my color notes for the shading. Okay, so I need the orange. And this is going to be a darker version of that. Just going to outline where I have the shading shown. And then I can clean it up like I did for the first sketch. And I will merge this down, but I want to see what I'm working with at the moment. Like where the sketching actually is. And this one's already outlined. But I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. And here. And this part of the ear. I might be getting carried away on the face because I don't actually have any shading notes on the face. I just have the shading notes on the neck. And then I think the coat, I had, this section here. So I need this color. Darker. Hopefully it's not same color as the tights. If it is, I can just adjust it. Take this and fill that in. Alright, let's see. Did I have any other... There were notes on the ankles. So I need the skin tone. Go here. Under here. And then here. So yeah, this looks like it's, instead of it being a backlit situation like I had sort of thought of doing, it's more like a natural light where there's light coming from this direction, like this way. Yeah, because this would be from here, and this would just be from just general shirt happenings. Yeah, this is almost the same color as the leggings, so I need to push this darker. That's better. Something about the eye. Maybe it's the face. Maybe I need to make this slimmer. And just add a line here, because in the sketch everything looked fine. I don't even know if you can see that. It's so small. Just add a little more texture. I know her eyes still feel a little far apart. I'm just gonna scoot it in just a little bit. And then just fix these breaks in color. That's better. I'm at an hour 17, excuse me, an hour and 17 minutes. Gotta get started on more of the shading. I might get really quiet here, so I'm just concentrating on trying to finish this. But I will interact with chat as messages pop in, if any more messages pop in. Okay, I need a shadow for the steel. Bit of sharpness there. I want that to go over. Bit of light. So with metal surfaces, it's going to have a high contrast versus having a gradiated surface or a gradation of light to dark. What do I have? This is merged together. Okay, that's good. So I can go ahead and add in like this. I'll have a light here. have a little bit of competition between the light and dark crossovers. So I need this to show where that is happening. It's going to be here and here. I'm just stylizing this a little bit. I like the sharper, less realistic shapes. I think it just makes it look, it's got more personality that way. This probably needs a lines and shapes treatment again. Curious what that would look like. I'm just gonna do the whole thing. Yep. Now I did alter the color of the staff just a little bit, but I like what it did to all the different sections where there was contrast in the high shine and the low bits. It's a very effective way to shorthand that. Highlight for the gems is all the way up here. I'm not going to use that as the highlight on the hair because the hair is not that shiny. But I will still use a lighter purple to do some bit of shininess on the hair. Hour 24. If I have to finish this one off stream, then so be it. At the very least, I got most of the coloring done. But she's a little more involved than the character from this morning, and so it doesn't surprise me. So when there's more detail to manage, I tend to try to work all over instead of just focusing on one area, and that helps me pull things together a little bit faster. But it also pulls my attention in a way that I think is actually detrimental to me getting these things done within the time span that I'm looking to get them done in. Okay, so this does have a little bit more red in it. That's good. That's what I did for the other one, was instead of just going straight down, I picked something that had some more red in it so that the shadow wouldn't be too gray. You could still tell there was blood in the flesh, as it were. This needs high shine. It's so pastel. I think, yeah, the only thing I can do with that is just adding white to it. Ooh, this is so messy. Some of my details are too small to the point where like I can't successfully just use the bucket tool, so I have to use the paintbrush. And when I'm using the paintbrush, like sometimes I really am just throwing the color on there. And for the most part, when I'm doing this off stream, that is part of the process, is me just like throwing the colors in there and then just cleaning it up as I go. So I know this part is very painstaking to watch, but it's part of my process. I guess I'll make her magic purple to match her eyes. I need this color. Let's do the pearl details. This dark orange here. You really can't see that, but it'll make a difference. Just color and cut. Yeah, this is where my light is coming from. All of this is going to be in shadow. This needs high contrast. It's going to be here. And then the buttons on the edge of the coat. The bits of silver. And then this is just going to get canvas shading. A little bit of texture from where the bag is folding. Fill this. A little bit of shine on the leggings. It did not pick up for some reason. There we go. The face needs some highlights. It's not enough that it's just a shadow. Because her face feels very flat. Let's add a little bit of yellow. That was the wrong choice. I'll keep it orange. And of course, shading behind the headband and around the forehead. Oh, the pen is just not picking up the colors. I just charged it. It shouldn't be this difficult. I might need to push the shadows in here just a little bit, but I think 3 layers of shading is okay for now, since the other one didn't really have too much else going on with it. Just making sure I didn't miss any other notes. At 1.5 hours or 1:34. I'm probably gonna hit right at the 2-hour mark. More texture in here. Fill this. Use a little bit bigger brush. Cut back in a little bit. Now this jacket definitely needs some more shading. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and select these areas. Just do a large swatch of color, bigger brush than that. Smaller than that though. And then I also need, let's just do this so I don't have to select certain areas. I'm gonna need to fuzz this out a little bit with my watercolor brush. So the shadow is gonna be more stark down here, but a little softer higher up in the coat where there is some space. This is, I need to work on this a little bit. It's almost like it's too bright. And I will work on that later. Let's go ahead and finish the shading. I need to do shading on the skirt and the peplum. It doesn't make sense for the shading to be that strong here and then not as strong in the shirt. So otherwise this would all be in highlight. At least it feels more full that way. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll have to go down and over just so that it's, yep, that's the right color. Because I need it to be darker than this. But of course not so out of place that it's a completely different color. Since these are leggings, there's going to be just a little bit of wobbliness in the shading, but for the most part, because they're sort of like a skin tight situation, the shadows are only going to fall on the farthest edges of where the light is not reaching. This is under the knee. I haven't done anything with the shoes yet. I am still just starting. I feel like I'm just starting on any of the real shading. I mean, I know that's not true because I just finished the coat, I've done the hair. There's a couple other places where there's at least some intrigue. this dark. Yep. Make this here. And this here. And just cut back into this. Get a little bit of shading here. This pen is actually dithering pretty nicely on the edges. I'm going to sharpen this back up like so. And then maybe do just a little bit of highlight. And I'll use this color for the hair too. So it's not quite as gem toned. It has a little more gray than the highlight that I used on her Power Stones. "15 minutes. The bracelet still needs some copper tone. Just gotta pick up the pace and be smart with my time. This is certainly not the cleanest coloring job I've done, but it will have to do. When it's zoomed out, you can't tell. When it's zoomed out, it's fine. Okay, all of my copper. Where's my highlight? Okay. Just to make that a little shiny. Need some shading up here. And this little hair decoration. A little bit in the bow. Here and here. Oh. This needs shadow. That's what's missing. I already had the highlight. There we go. The other problem with working in the round, as great as it is to pull things together quickly, because you're working on everything, sometimes it's hard to see what areas haven't been worked on yet. And that's what I'm looking for now. And because everything has a little bit of something, it's hard to tell what hasn't like truly been pushed and worked on to the extent that it needs to be. A little bit of wrinkles in the peplum. I'm not going to have time to do any sort of design work that I wanted to do on either here, on the sides. That's all going to have to happen off of stream, unfortunately, because I have 10 minutes left. I don't want to go over like I did with, I think it was Banana Split, but I went over on her character because I spent so much time trying to figure out how to draw the hand that was resting on her leg. This is just taking forever because this character has a lot of moving parts. And maybe I'm talking too much, but I don't just want to be silent for the entire stream. But when I am, I can concentrate better. Maybe this is just not the right format for me to work in. But out of all the characters I've done, I've only really had hiccups with 2 of them. So I think it just depends on the type of character that I'm doing. I don't like having to go over though because that also cuts into my editing time. But sometimes I guess this is just the way it's gonna be. At least I don't have any other obligations for the evening. so I can spend as much time editing as I need to, but I don't want to be stuck in my office all day either. I want to be free. Oh, nope, that's right next to... So this is fine. No, I'm gonna leave that alone. Hour 52. The shoes! Oh, I have done nothing with the shoes. This is also... I'm just gonna do a little this. Sort of a rough gem. That's the wrong color. It needs to be this color. There we go. Get a little bit of that. And a little bit of shading. Right on the back end, here and here. The purple. Just your little... The top part is cloth, but of course the bottom part is solid. Should I make them metal? Because they're wedges. But if I make them metal, when she walks, it would have the effect of heels. Like the clacking. And I haven't done the sigil. I need to do that really quickly. And then the lighting that provides. Let's do this instead. Carve little bits back out, add little bits in. At an hour 55, so almost at the end of 2 hours here. I've done most everything except for the highlight that's coming from this sigil. I've gotten all of the base components of this character figured out. I just need to do the last little touches, and that's going to have to happen off screen, or off stream at least. And then I'll post the final version on Instagram, and we'll also have the final version in the playback video as well. But for now, let me turn on the other character so we can see both of them side by side. Yeah, this one's definitely sharper, and I think maybe just because these colors are already more primary and these ones are more gray. So I'm going to need to work on this a little bit just to push some of the sharpness with the shadows and lighting a little bit. But I've finished characters 58 and 59, so tomorrow we'll be doing character number 60. What time? I'll I know I've been doing these streams at 9 in the morning. I might shoot for 10, just so I have a little more time to finish any editing that I need to do carried over from today into tomorrow. So yes, tomorrow at 10 I will be streaming, so from 10 to 12, character number 60. But let me go ahead and set up for shutdown. That is all for today. That is the end of part 2. So I'll see you guys next time.